Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another exciting episode. This one is the Drops episode for week 4 of the fantasy hockey season. Before I jump into which players you should be dropping from your team, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet already subscribed to the channel. Trust me, you're going to want to be part of this channel. I'm always putting out lots and lots of videos to make sure that you are always adding the right players for each week. And I do my absolute best to make sure that you guys win your fantasy hockey championships. Let's jump into the content now and let's take a look at some forwards that you can consider dropping from your team. And first on the list is the guy I have right behind me, Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I like Jamie Benn. I have his jersey behind me. Unfortunately, he is aging and he's just not putting up the same points totals that he was the last couple of seasons. He's owned in 59% of leagues, yet he's not on the top power play, and he's only playing on the third line right now. It is not really ideal. Listen, at some point he's probably going to go on a hot streak, but for now he's not doing all that much, and there's probably some better players on the waiver wire for those of you in shallower leagues. If you're in a super deep league, I'm not dropping Jamie Benn, but if you are in like an 8, 10-man, even 12-man league, Jamie Benn can probably be safely dropped right now. Then the next couple of guys on this list are Logan Cooley and Lawson Crouse, rostered at 42% and 33% respectively. Now Logan Cooley is centering the second line in Utah, which isn't terrible, but he isn't getting any top power play time and his peripherals aren't really great. If you're in a deep league, I probably would hold on to him because his deployment isn't really that bad and he's still doing okay. But if you're in a shallower league, for sure he doesn't need to be owned, and he's a natural center too, which really isn't that valuable. And then Lawson Crouse. He's playing only on the third line and second power play, and he's the kind of guy who you drafted because he hits a whole lot. This year, the hits have kind of faded, and it's really sad to see, but if he's not hitting guys, he doesn't really have any value, and he can be safely dropped as well. The next guy on this list is Paul Cotter, who's having himself a pretty nice season. He's playing right now on the third line in New Jersey with Haula and Stefan Nason. And unlike Haula and Stefan Nason, who are getting power play time, Nason PP1 and Haula PP2, Cotter is not really getting any power play time, which reduces his value. The nice thing about Cotter is that he does hit quite a bit, so he gives you a safe floor there. So if you're in a categories league, a very, very deep categories league with hits, he probably can still be owned. But other than that, guys, I'm not overly high on Paul Cotter. Yes, he's probably going to gain left wing eligibility really soon because that's the position he has been playing for most of the year. So that definitely increases his value a little bit, but he's not someone I'm overly high on for offensive production, and the early offensive production you saw from him is not something he's going to be able to sustain all year. The next guy on this list is Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks, and man, has this kid ever been disappointing at this point in his career. He's currently playing on the third line with Isaac Lundestrom and Alex Killorn, and only has 2 points through 6 games, and his peripherals kind of suck. He's not shooting that much, and there's no other peripherals really to speak of. It's rough holdings Trevor Zegras right now, and honestly, he can be dropped in pretty much all leagues. Now, there's a chance that at some point during the year, he'll turn it around and maybe show what he's made of a little bit, but he's been really disappointing for a few years now, guys. So to me, he is a drop in all leagues. Jumping into defensemen now, and the first guy I have on this list is Filip Hronek, and before you guys all freak out on me, no, he's not a drop in all leagues. He does have 2 points through 6 games, and his peripherals haven't been too bad. So if you are in a deeper league, that's gonna have to be good enough for you. I'm not expecting a whole lot of points from him this year like he was able to do last year. The Canucks shooting percentage as a whole last year was really, really high. So, that production that he kind of had last year was a little bit unsustainable. If you're okay with decent peripherals and a point every 3 games or so, Hronek is going to be fine. But he definitely does not need to be owned in over 70% of leagues. That is for sure. Then Thomas Chabot of the Ottawa Senators isn't having really that great of a year himself. Unfortunately, it is Jake Sanderson that is on the top power play this year. Like I predicted, I really didn't project Thomas Chabot to have a great year this year because of that. And honestly, guys, his peripherals have been okay, so he's holdable in deep, deep leagues. But other than that, guys, I'm not expecting a whole lot of points from him this year without that top power play deployment. So he's droppable in shallower leagues, that is for sure. Bowen Byram is a drop in all leagues right now, in my opinion. He's putting up basically no peripherals. He's not even getting power play 2-time right now. That's going to Owen Power. So unless Dahlin or Power gets injured, I don't expect Bowen Byram to have all that much value, especially with the complete lack of peripherals he's been giving this year. I've already dropped him in any leagues that I've had him in. Jake McCabe of the Toronto Maple Leafs is an okay player to have on a roster. His floor is decent each and every night, but honestly, guys, he doesn't really need to be owned in that many leagues unless you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of defensemen, like you're in a deep league. Then you can own Jake McCabe, but to me, there are plenty of other options on the waiver wire, usually that streamer options, even forward streamer options that will help you more than having Jake McCabe on your roster. And finally, Michael Kesselring, I don't know why on earth he's owned in 14% of leagues. I get that he had a hot start to the year, but it's not like he's getting power play 1-time or anything like that. He's someone who's putting up almost no peripherals and is an easy drop. In terms of goalies, Tristan Jarry is a drop. I can't believe how easily Pittsburgh gave up on this guy. Honestly, it's kind of crazy. He only played 3 games, actually won one of those 3 games. I get that he sucked in the other 2, but come on. 3 games and you're completely giving up on your starting goalie who you're paying quite a bit of money every year. That is kind of crazy. They've been starting Ned and Blomqvist the last few games, and they had a back-to-back set on the week that I'm recording this. And instead of giving Jarry another chance, they sent him back to Pittsburgh, put him down to the AHL on a conditioning stint, and hoping that he'll find his game there. Maybe you guys should have given him another chance before sending him to the freaking AHL and completely destroying his confidence. Hopefully, he does turn it around once he gets called back up from the AHL, but damn, that's rough. Honestly, holding Tristan Jarry right now is pretty much impossible, and even in deep leagues, he's probably droppable unless there really are no goalies at all and you're super desperate and he's one of your only 2 goalies. Then you got to hold on to him, cross your fingers that he gets called back up soon and starts playing well. But man, he is really rough to be holding right now. Jake Allen, someone who I dropped this week with New Jersey, only playing 2 games and they're not back-to-back sets. I'm imagining Markstrom gets both games, so Jake Allen's not going to get a single start this week, so definitely not worth holding there. And then David Riddick, owned in 19% of leagues, can be dropped now as well. Now that Darcy Kemper is back, and he is the starter in LA, so Riddick does not need to be owned anymore. And that's it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed my content today, drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tips.